Thank you for joining the podcast. It's your boy, Ty Beasy, with the latest rap discussions and news. And today's topic is rappers and politics.
Turn up, knock a motherfucking beat out. Passing blocks like a nigga on the freeway. Patron shots till a nigga straight pass out. Bad bitch got a nigga straight cashed out. Banging with the float, nigga thugged out. Holler at the chick with a fucking ass out. At the bar like gone, nigga fill it up. In the building like a girl, nigga fill it up. Looking for a double. Baby, you trap, booty, double. Spending money in club like a bottom lot. I can be a trap like a sky high.
Cube issued a contract with Black America. And he had about 14 things outlined in this contract that I felt I felt the need to discuss. And so I'm going to share some of my opinions. I'm going to read each one, share some of my opinions, and then I'm going to possibly have a guest on here to give their opinions and share with you guys as well. So stay tuned for that. All right, so the first thing that he jotted down on this contract was a bill to guarantee Black opportunity and representation. And it reads as follows. Adopt a plan of neo-reconstruction to redress past wrongdoings systematically imposed on Black Americans economically throughout many generations that has resulted in a wealth gap where the average white family has 10 times the wealth of a Black family. In addition to some of the economic initiatives listed below, also formally apologize to Black Americans for past discrimination and slavery. Additionally, Black opportunity and representation will include affirmative action in schools, public and private, per student funding in states on an equal basis instead of paid by local property taxes, Black representation on all government civil rights bodies, civil rights classes, mandatory in elementary school, gerrymandering reform, additional polling places in Black and minority neighborhoods, and Juneteenth to become a federal holiday. So look, let's face it, man. Most, if not all, Black people were born poor as shit. We had nothing. Our families had nothing. You know what I'm saying? White people were born with money. You know what I'm saying? It's been like that for generations to come. I mean, a lot of white people, I'm not saying all white people, I'm saying a lot of white people. I mean, these guys got these big old acres and lands and farms, and we don't have none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Let's be honest, man. We didn't have none of that. They ain't trying to give us that. They want us to work hard they tell us to work hard to get what we need, but I've seen people work as hard all their life and never got that. So when we gonna get that? Honestly, I mean, our neighborhoods was redlined. You know what I'm saying? It made it nearly impossible for Black families to even succeed. I mean, you don't have good education in the hood. You don't got good stores in the hood. You don't have good jobs in the hood. I mean, you name one good thing in the hood. But then when you go outside the hood, you go, damn, I ain't never seen that before. Right. That shouldn't even be like that, man. So this section is talking about, you know, making it easier for Black families to be able to succeed. You know what I'm saying? And I agree. I agree with this one, but, you know, there may have to be some tweaks in this particular bill. You feel me? That might have to be. All right, so the second thing on the agenda was bank lending reform. Bank lending will be regulated to require banks to lend a percentage of all loan and credit card categories on an equal basis to Black population each bank serves. However, the minimum threshold must yearly meet the percentage equal to the national Black population, which is currently 13.4%. Rates on Black loans federally and from banks to the same average rates as whites. And so if I'm reading this correctly, Let me see. If I'm reading this correctly, it just kind of this gives black people a big chance at ownership, right? And ownership get by providing ownership, that's creating generational wealth, right? So if I own something and I'm making money, I'm naturally I'm gonna take care of my family. That means that I'm looking out for the future of my kids, and if I continue to make that business successful, my kids can be successful as well with that same money lineage within the family. So that's generational wealth. If it started with us owning stuff, you know what I mean? I think at the end of the day, 50 years from now, we're not talking about poverty in what we seeing today. We're talking poverty on a different level. Poverty with money. Right now, we're talking poverty with $0. But right, in the future, at least, they'd have a better chance to succeed because they don't have to work as hard. You'll have black kids that are born into families with money. So yeah, I definitely agree on the bank lending reform. I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea overall. You know what I mean? Now we about to get into something that I really appreciate him putting on here, man, which was number 3. Federal funding of baby bonds. Passed federal program providing every child with a government-funded trust account at birth, starting with $1,000 contribution. As proposed by Senator Booker and Representative Presley, accounts to be managed by the Treasury, and only those born into lower wealth families will receive more contributions each year, up to $46,500 total. At the age of 18, access to the funds allowed but restricted to asset-enhancing actions such as buying homes, starting a business, and funding education. Now, this is a plus, man. That means that every child that's born into poverty would automatically have an account that they could use to be successful or even own something by the time they turn 18 years old. I mean, $46,500 is not a lot of money, but let me tell you something. If by the time I turned 18, I got $46,500 access, right? I'd own shit by now. That would have been an investment for me, I mean, honestly, we don't have no investments because, nobody want to give us a bank loan. You know what I'm saying? Our family wasn't born into no money, so where am I get the money to own something from? How am I buy it? You know what I'm saying? I mean, they just recently, decade or two, made it possible for black people with low income to even try and buy a house. And they screwed everybody else in. Everybody in. I know I was part of that. Yeah. They paid it back, but I was still part of that. You know what I'm saying? So this right here is a very good start. Because if I had money when I got out of school at 18, I could have took that money and went to the best damn school possible. Probably got the best degree possible, which would have definitely put me in a better and best position possible, right? So this bill, I really like number 3, federal funding of baby bonds. I mean, that's thought-provoking, bro. I like that. Good job, Q. All right, so here's another one. Number 4, Federal Reserve and government pensions. For qualified Black Americans, Federal Reserve to allow a one-time interest-free loan for home ownership. The Fed to ensure banks and institutions it oversees comply with bank lending reform. The Feds to adopt modern monetary theory with goal of full employment and avoidance of actual inflation. Federal and state pension funds controls over $1 trillion, and he wants them to be able to allocate 13.4% of their investments in Black-owned enterprises and businesses. Venture capital and private equity funds that make money public entities must invest 13.4% of their total funds in Black-owned businesses. Did he just say interest-free loan? A one-time interest-free loan? The interest-free loan. My first question is there a cap on that? And what I mean by that is, if I qualify for a $500,000 loan, is that still interest-free? If I qualify for $1 million loan, is that interest-free? I mean, because it is. I mean, I get it. All I'm saying is we live in an inflated economy right now. And I should have said this. An interest-free home loan. If there ain't no cap, how the hell are you going to pull that off? You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. How you going to pull that off, bro? There's got to be a cap. And say there is a cap. Say the cap is, it's got to be equal and fair. And it's got to be based on where you live, within America. It shouldn't be the state, but within America. Because right now, I can go 15 minutes up the road, and every house over there is $850,000 or more. That's 15 minutes from the hood. You feel me? So, I like it, but I don't know. That just seems like, even though this is to help us, I just don't see a bank going, well, I'm going to give you $850,000 interest-free. Interest-free, don't worry about it. Just make your monthly payments. Don't worry about it. I just don't see it happen. Now, they put a cap on it. All right, say they put a cap on it and they go, well, up to $300,000. Find me a motherfucking house you want to buy for $300,000, and I'll wait. I'll wait. Right now, $300,000 is like buying shit. What was that motherfucker? A Yugo. Right. That's what it seemed like. So I'm not sure if that per se is beneficial. I mean, it just depends on where that cap is. And then for them to say they're going to have the feds oversee it, okay, maybe. We can argue and say, look, man, they just released $1 trillion, $3 trillion for the first stimulus package, and we ain't hurt. But do you honestly think they're gonna do that for one minority of people? I mean, one minority. I want us to succeed too. But this one right here, it just seemed like you're throwing something out there that's nearly impossible to achieve. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think maybe they should have said interest for a shorter amount of years. Maybe say, you want a 30-year loan, you're only doing 15-year interest. I think they'd go for something like that. But interest free, I doubt it. I'm not sure about this bill right here. So number 5 is financial oversight. without even going into detail about what that financial oversight, I'm gonna break it down because they use some really big words in this, and I'm not gonna waste the time in reading. But financial oversight is really just who's watching the guys watching the guys. You know, we need somebody to watch the guys that's watching the guys that's watching us. That's what that says. Just make sure that the money is being dispersed to the correct parties, right? That nobody's cheating the system, basically, it's saying. That's what that's saying. So finance oversight, yeah. Who's watching? If you got an overseer, who's watching the overseer? You got the bank, you got the overseer that's watching the bank. Now, who's watching the overseer? Right, that's what this is saying. We need somebody to watch the overseer that's watching the overseer. You know what I'm saying? All right, so number 6. Most states publicly release public data about arrestees unchecked. Like the 1970 Fair Credit Reporting Act regarding credit data, there must be guidelines regarding arrest records that allow similar privacy and accuracy protections and the right to dispute and correct inaccurate data. Credit services will be reformed to mandate consideration of individual consumer data on rent, utilities, cell phone, and other like bill payments. All right, so really, let's be honest, man. You ever went and applied for an apartment, right? And they tell you, say, yeah, we got that available. We need you to fill out this credit report. We're going to run your credit. And they run your credit, and they come back and go, oh, well, your girl good, but, he's got some things that don't look pretty. He got arrested last year, so unfortunately, we can't rent to you. Right. That's unfair as shit. Come on, bro. So because I went to jail, and you see the shit on my credit report, now that gives you the right to judge me? That ain't fair, bro. That ain't fair. I could have went to jail for unpaid parking tickets. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what I went to jail for. But because they don't say that on the credit report, it just say that I served a certain amount of time. Now it gives you the right to place judgment on me. So, yeah. I agree with that. There has to be some reform on that because I don't think that your jail sentence should be reported on your credit. I don't think your cell phone data on your prepaid phone needs to be on your credit report. Nor do I think that some of your bills that you pay, man, not everybody's rich. I got a bill last month for $800 from PG&E. Damn man had a heart attack. You know what I'm saying? So and you telling me, so if I decide, fuck that, I'm gonna put this shit in my son's name. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put this shit in my son's name. I'm put this in my daughter's name. Man, fuck that shit. God damn, I ain't paying this $800. They gonna take that shit. Fuck it. Fuck it. And I feel it. Fuck it. I'll put the shit on your credit. So next time you apply for an apartment, the bitch gonna say, oh, we offer PG&E money. You probably going, no. She gonna see the PG&E bill. God damn it. Right. That shit ain't cool, man. So yeah, they do need to reform how they collect the data and put it on your credit report because it ain't everybody's business. You know what I'm saying? It ain't everybody's business, man. That shouldn't be, how much time I served in jail, nigga, should not be on your motherfucking credit report. Let's be honest. Stupid. All right, so number 7. Excuse me, y'all. Privately run prisons will be abolished. Prison labor disallowed without consent, and nonviolent offenders incarcerated for 10 years or longer will be free if good behavior standards are met. All prisoners for marijuana possession free. First offense for illegal drug use or possession to require government payment or entry into an unapproved drug rehabilitation program rather than in prison. Once any prisoner completes the sentence, voting rights are restored. Right. So at this point in time, if you've ever done prison time and you get out, right, and you're on parole, probation, whatever the case may be, you still don't have no rights. You still considered a prisoner. You can't go and vote. You can't do shit. You ain't got no rights. You know what I'm saying? So that's the first fucking thing. Prisons are big business. So privately owned businesses, prisons are big business. They're being built as we speak. They make a shitload of money, bro. Shitload of money. You know what I'm saying? And niggas that go to jail for marijuana, I mean, come on, man. You got clubs selling marijuana right now. You know what I'm saying? Anybody in it. I mean, I went to the marijuana club last week, man, and I'm gonna tell you, I was surprised. I'm like, God damn, that bitch right there, she's about 65. Homie about 58. Shit, she about 82. They were white people. White people. On canes and walkers, nigga. Trying to get some weed. See what I'm saying? So, yeah, marijuana charges, man, that shit gotta be thrown out, man. Come on, let's get real. Look in the day and the time that we in, man. Marijuana charges, it don't even make no sense. Come on. Come on. The first offenders, man, like these guys that, you got caught smoking in the back of the food source in the back parking lot of the food source. You were smoking that crack, you know what I'm saying? You're getting the shit on, right? These motherfuckers was believing, oh yeah, we're just gonna arrest him, throw him in prison, and when he get out, he'll be clean. No, motherfucker, don't. When you get out, you back to smoking. And set back in the same motherfucking food source. You know what I'm saying? Shit. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. You know that person was supposed to go to rehabilitation, man. You know. They wasn't supposed to go to prison. You're supposed to send them to some place that can help them get out of that. Straight up. So, yeah, prison reform, I like that one, man. That's a good one on there. But a little tweak in there, too. But definitely on there, I like it. Number 8, judicial reforms. Right. So eliminate mandatory minimums and 3-strike laws. Hell yeah. So, nigga. The Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice reformed through stricter guidelines and greater oversight over police departments. DOJ can be sued for non-compliance. Yeah. Lynching to become a federal hate crime. And the Ku Klux Klan declared a terrorist organization. You mean tell me that after all these years, all the niggas that's been hung from trees, all of the involvement that the Ku Klux Klan has portrayed themselves to be. Even your boy Donald Trump supports these motherfuckers. Don't nobody want to get rid of them. Hey, come on, man. Stacks. Shit, stupid motherfucker, man. By the time you got no time for that. I ain't even got to talk about that part. You know. Come on, man. Minimum strike, 3-strike laws. You know, that right there was a nigga catcher for real. They just created a nigga net. That's all. 3 strikes, come on, bro. Get rid of that shit, bro. I don't even know why that's even prevalent today. You know, the hell with all the monies that the prisons make. Fuck them prisons. Get rid of that shit, man. Don't make no sense. And Biden, actually, to be honest with you, Biden knows a little bit about that. So I don't know, this year in voting is you're voting for the lesser evil. I don't like Trump, so I ain't got no choice but to vote for Biden. I know that Biden is a lot. It's motherfucking 50 times better than Trump, but he ain't no angel. So he got a history too. He got some things I really don't like, but the things that I don't like about him don't add up to the things that I don't like about Trump. So I guess I will be voting Biden this year, for sure. You got to get this motherfucker out of office. So without reading this number 9, which is Police Reform Act, okay, that's what's going on. Let's talk about it for a minute. I don't know if I'll agree with police reform. In a sense, you're kind of saying, keep the same rules that you were doing, but do it a little bit more sneaky. To me, that's what reform is. I believe there needs to be more than just reform. I think some rebuilding needs to take place. Because here's the thing, man. That's how you know it's systematic. You look in the police force and you go, okay, you talk to some of these officers. I'll tell you, my daddy's daddy was a police officer. That's why I became a police officer. Mm-hmm. And then you got black guys and black women who are police officers as well. But their reasoning for becoming a police officer was that much more different than their white counterpart. And I'm going to tell you why. The white counterpart, see, when the white people, when they became law enforcement, right? They became law enforcement during a time where prejudicism was, and racism was prevalent. I mean, very much prevalent. I mean, this is what you were supposed to do. Jim Crow laws, man, hey, it is what it is. But black guys who became police officers were doing no more than trying to better themselves. Whereas the white guy didn't go into police. He didn't go become a police officer to better himself. No. He became a police officer because it was a position of power and he could control. See what I'm saying? Control. That's what it's really all about. So, if you're white and you're coming from a family of police officers, right? Best believe that if your daddy was a racist police officer, your daddy's daddy was a racist police officer, your daddy's daddy was a racist police officer. 9 times out of 10, you're a racist police officer too, because it's prevalent within your family. And there's a lot more of y'all than it is of us. So our opinion don't mean shit. What we think it should be. The laws are written around that. You see what I'm saying? So reform, I don't know about the reform thing. I want each police department rebuilt, meaning that every person in the police department, you want to become a police officer, you're going to have to go through a series of tests, psychological and physical, which I thought was always being done, but apparently the psychological part
was being smacked on. Right. That's what's going on in today's society. Enough of that.
No reform, man. Rebuild.
All right, so number 10.
FCC licensing of public airwaves. Broadcast networks will be required to air Black-produced content equal to 20% of the total content on the network as measured by time.
Yeah. Now this one, yeah, I agree in a way. Because even though we got a lot of Black content on air now, you know, it still seems whitewashed. You know, because in order for a Black comedy to make it in a white society, there has to be some type of language that pertains to them. You know? So I agree. I agree to a certain extent. You know, we grew up on you know, In Living Color, The Cosby Show, but these things were only prevalent on a particular channel at a certain time, and most of the time, if some big white show came on, they canceled the Black show to show the white show. So I get it. It needs to be equal content, across all networks, not just, you know, one or two. You know, you can't even call BET no more. I mean, that's a whole nother story, but okay. It ain't even Black entertainment TV anymore. They got you thinking that. But okay. But yeah, number 10, FCC licensing public airwaves. Yeah. You know, 20% of the total content on the network should be Black. I agree. All right, so number 11. And this one I ain't even gonna read, it's just the title. Confederate Monuments and Institutions. Come on, man. Let's be real, man. Anything that has to do with hurting Black people in the past or present should be taken down right now. That includes any statues, flags, paintings, portraits, buildings, schools named after shit, you know. It includes all that, man. You know, I think all that needs to be changed because we're living in a different world, man. Been living in a different world. All that shit should have came down decades, generations ago. You know, but it's still up. So that tells you how much racism is still prevalent in the world. You got people fighting to keep this shit standing and hanging and flying. You know, that tells you right there, racism is huge. Racism is huge. It's huge, bro. It's huge. So yeah, get rid of that shit, man. I ain't even gotta read that, bro. That's a no-brainer. All right, number 12, AGP program for education and jobs. Adoption of AGP, a public-private program that provides access to jobs and education and or training for people willing to put in the work and commitment. Yep. So we do. We need more training facilities within the hood to help our Black people get out the hood or learn how to get out the hood. Definitely prevalent, man, because, you know, right now, again, if you want some type of training course, you got to travel outside of your neighborhood, you know, and you shouldn't have to do that. All those resources should be available to you in the community in which you live. You know what I'm saying? This is a no-brainer too. I mean, we're talking simple shit, like common sense shit. That's had it, man. Come on. Okay, and 13, last but not least, Black responsibility. And so without reading this all the way through, I'm just going to touch on a couple of things, man.
when you live in a ghetto or hood, like I live in Stockton. Stockton, California it's like the murder capital of the world. But one of the things that's prevalent in this hood is you have no choice when you walk outside your door but to have frustration, negativity on your mind, hopelessness on your mind, alcoholism, drugs all around you. There ain't no job, so motherfucker's job is to rob you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you grew up around that, and there ain't no hope. You look outside, and everybody is going through the exact same thing that you are. Come on, man. It's got to come to a point in time in your life that you got to say, man, I need some change. And I can't complain to the white folks because I don't have this, because I'm not held accountable. I'm not holding myself accountable. I'm in a position that I'm in. I work for a medical facility. I ain't gonna say the name, but I work for a medical facility. I actually run this facility, and it took some years for me to get there. I've worked hard all my life, man. All my life. Still working. Still working. And one of the things that I knew that I had to change for myself was, if I wanted to succeed, I had to be responsible for my own success. I had to be accountable for the mistakes that I was making. I had to learn from those things, right? But, some people don't learn, but we all, as Black people, need to recognize that it takes us first for that change to happen. You know what I'm saying? Change just don't happen overnight. You know what I'm saying? And it's still prevalent to this day that Blacks kill more Blacks than any other race. So, a lot of that change starts right here in the hood with us. With us. So, Black responsibilities, man. I don't know why that's on there. Maybe he just wanted us to see that. Because everything else was pointed towards the system. And I guess what he's really saying is that we're part of that same system. Because we're just as prejudiced against one another as they are against us. We got to stop wanting. We got to start wanting to see success in our brothers and sisters, man. But it starts here, Stop all that jealousy shit, Stop hating on the motherfucker. You ain't even got no reason to hate, because this nigga doing better than you. So, the buck got to stop somewhere, man. Change got to start somewhere. It starts with us, bro. It starts with us.